Hi, I'm Randy at Kentville Toyota. Today we're in the lovely outdoors trying to do a video on a car because the showroom's full of people and it's noisy up next to the building. That's why we're hiding in the backyard. So today we're going to do a walk around on a used car simply because I've never had a new car to show anybody. This is a 2024 Toyota Grand Highlander XLE trim. Let's have a look. So here we are at the front of the 2024 Grand Highlander. So first appearances, really large grille on this vehicle. This is on a common platform with our original Highlander, but the Grand Highlander obviously a little more real estate in the grille. It's taking up a lot more space. This is a non-hybrid version, so obviously we don't get the bright light blue in the Toyota symbol. LED projector headlights, so have not had a chance to drive this one, but one of our staff members has one and loves the headlights, and he's older than I am and he can still see, so that's a great starting point. So as we come around the side, just to note, so this is a used vehicle, 2024, it's got about 25K on it. This one's in great shape, there's very few rock chips, few small marks on it. This is the color Blueprint, which has been around since 2018, I guess was our first model year with this particular color. It does stand up well, very durable and resilient for not showing wear and tear, scuffs, scratches, those kinds of things. Because it is a metallic, it does stand up quite nicely. So as we come back here, we'll realize this is an alloy wheel that it does come with. That is an 18-inch tire. Because this is certified pre-owned, we put new tires on it. As we come down the side of the vehicle, you can see, as with most of our Toyotas now, you do have your turn signal is integrated into the side mirror, color matched door handle, and because this does have push button start, the vehicle, if you do have the key in your possession, I can lock and unlock from the outside, which is a nice feature. Back here a little further, I was going to tell you something about the inside, but I haven't gone to the inside yet, so let's carry on the outside. So as you can see back here, this is a way more angular vehicle than the Highlander is. It's got a way more defined body line, much higher haunch on the rear quarter here. This, as an XLE, obviously, power liftgate, standard feature on this trim level of vehicle. And again, because this is a 24, the Grand Highlander was one of the first vehicles that came out with this 2-button closure system that is standard on, I think, all of our vehicles now. So you have the option of press to close or press to close and lock, and it just eliminates the nuisance factor as you, as the consumer, as you're walking away from your car, have to wait for the hatch to close fully before you can lock it. Is you can push this and it'll lock and close simultaneously. Great cargo space back here. Good floor height, and we're just the way we're sitting here, the front of this vehicle is down a little bit, so the floor height is quite high, but on flat ground it's a couple inches lower. But awesome cargo space when the second row is up and the third row is down. Very usable SUV because this is noticeably larger on the interior than our Highlander is. Even the Highlander with third row, you don't get this kind of space. So that's the big advantage of this platform, is you get third row seating, more leg room for the rear passengers in that third row, and you get cargo space to boot. So it's been a nice compromise as we stretch the wheelbase on this vehicle a little bit. Okay, just for an example, I'm about to get in the rear of this vehicle. I have no experience with the Grand Highlander hybrid, so just gonna grab the strap and see how easy it is to get up here. Okay, that went better than I expected. That's not nearly as embarrassing as I'm used to. I can adjust it. Oh yeah, I can adjust the angle here a little bit. Headrest comes up. Okay, I'm going to slide in the other side and see how easily, or not easily, I can get in that third row after I set the second row for my leg length. Wish me luck. That opened up really easily. Again, I have no qualifications to know how to get in here. So that comes back. Oh, that is a very pleasant surprise. I have reasonable headroom. I've got tons of leg room. Yeah, I mean, you could put your surfboard in here if you wanted to with that seat down and still have room for a passenger here. I'm pleasantly surprised by this. What else do I see? I see a USB-C charging port. I've got great big cup holders on both sides. A little bit of wear and tear here. Again, this is a used vehicle. It's got about 25,000 kilometers on it. So yeah, I'm impressed. This is pretty user-friendly as far as getting that up and going. I can adjust the seat here pretty readily. It's nice. I can change the angle of the back. Oh yeah, that's comfortable. Probably the most comfortable Toyota I've been in the third row in a long time. So I'll check that as that's a win on the scorecard for this one. So I think next we'll probably take it for a drive and see how it rides. So here we are sitting in the driver's seat of the 2024 Grand Highlander. This is the gas version. Gotta say, the Softex seat feels great. So this is not leather, it's Softex, which is Toyota's version of leather. Vegan leather, whatever you want to call it. So lots of bells and whistles. Controls are where you'd think they should be. I've got a heated steering wheel, automatic headlights, open and close, so the rear hatch is nice, well laid out here. There's a USB-C here to my right. There's another one beside it. There's another one over there for the passenger on the far side. Well laid out. The rear climate control for the rear seating is here. Really well laid out. And one thing I noticed as I play with the analog switches on the dash, I also see what I'm doing on the touchscreen. That's a nice feature. So we're gonna go for a little road trip here, see how this vehicle is on the road, and away we go. This is the gas drivetrain. Again, I have never driven this 4-cylinder drivetrain in any of our larger SUVs, simply because we have never had any inventory sitting on the lot that would be available to just take for a ride. So pleasantly surprised with the power here. Certainly not underpowered by any stretch. The last one of these Highlanders that I drove was the hybrid drivetrain, which feels a little different than this. This feels a little less like drive-by-wire. It's a little more responsive than the hybrid, but obviously that comes at a cost because the fuel economy will not be as good. This vehicle for 2024, 2025, no changes mechanically on these vehicles because this is a new platform. The stated average fuel economy combined for highway and local driving is stated at 10 liters per 100. So for an SUV that has this much seating capacity, and I've got to say, I'm pleasantly surprised by the power of this vehicle. We're coming up the off-ramp. I'm certainly not hurting it, and we're up to speed in no time flat. Blind spot monitoring is a nice feature. Obviously, I'm trying to pay attention, so that's not all that important here. I'm going to turn on the radar cruise control once I figure out how to do just that, which I have done on the steering wheel. Okay. Excellent. It is telling, so visually, it's telling me that the posted speed limit on this road is 100 kilometers an hour. It's also warning me that I may be doing 101, so I'll slow down a little bit. So, quite a windy day today. We're on the highway. I think the forecast winds for today were gusts up to 35 kilometers an hour, and this is a large vehicle. So, I do feel a little bit of wind coming at us a bit from our left side, but certainly not problematic. But like any vehicle, you should feel some wind. Pretty happy with the overall feel of this thing. Very comfortable. Seat is super comfy. I do like to sit up a little higher, so I'm going to raise that up. Make some adjustments here. So we do have lane trace assist. We have radar cruise control. All the standard safety features on the 24 are working here. It's keeping me back away from the vehicle in front of me as it should with the posted speed limit, so that's helpful. Climate control's working perfectly, no concerns. Once I figured how to do it safely, I am going to toggle through some of the settings here and just see what it's telling me for our spontaneous fuel economy number. So at 100 kilometers an hour on the highway on a windy day, it's telling me we are cruising at about 5.5 liters per 100, which gotta say, for a vehicle this size is pretty reasonable. So I'm gonna pass somebody now, just because it's a fairly short passing zone. Absolutely no problem to accelerate to pass the vehicle that we're overtaking. It's warning me that there's a vehicle in my blind spot, as it should. Fantastic. Wow, that was super simple. We just hit a fairly significant pothole because we are in Nova Scotia and we're driving on the highway. That's pretty normal. And that 18-inch wheel went through a very significant pothole quite nicely, not jarring. Yeah, I was pretty impressed by that. The noise in the rear, I'm not used to a vehicle that has rear air conditioning or rear climate control. I can hear the rear fan, as you should, because it's doing a job back there. How we doing, Nate? Do you have the AC good back there?
Oh yeah, I can barely hear you.
Okay, so it is noisy. So that's a fair comment, is we have the fan on high because it's quite a warm day here. We're driving a dark colored vehicle on the highway and it's sat in our parking lot for quite some time. It was pretty toasty when we got in. So we're about to do a little driving on a secondary road just to get a feel for some of the lower speed stuff. It's funny, at low speeds, I am hearing the gas drivetrain. That was the first time I've actually heard it with the fan turned down a little bit. And it is kind of growly, which I sort of like. It reminds me of the sound of the RAV4s, which I didn't hear because the fan noise from the rear, which we had set on high, was quite pronounced. So anyway, as we were driving earlier off camera, I did notice that when you do unbuckle one of the rear seats, the new safety features on these vehicles are very, very well tuned in. Is that a seatbelt was disconnected, it detected someone was in the seat, and it let us know, audibly, it gave us a very, very loud audible warning, and then it actually visually gave me a cue as to which actual seat was occupied without the seatbelt being on, which for a family vehicle, that is pretty handy for parents, grandparents, anybody who's, you know, carting kids around, so that you will know exactly who is unbuckled whenever you want to, because it will tell you on the display on the dash. That was kind of a neat feature. I think I'm sounding like an old fart now, saying, back in my day we didn't have all that fancy stuff. But anyway, it's neat technology to bring to the table here. Drivability is great. We've got some rough and bumpy here. There's no noise to speak of. It doesn't sound any different than a RAV4 would. It is a smoother ride than the RAV4, I can tell you that. Yeah, interesting. So this is a used vehicle. It has approximately 22,000 kilometers on it. It has gone through our certified pre-owned program, as we do. It needed virtually nothing because the vehicle had been bought and serviced at Kentville Toyota, so obviously we know the history, we know the previous owner. No surprises there. The surprising thing is I checked some of the data before we got in the vehicle just so we could talk about used cars. This is being filmed at roughly September 1st of 2025. This is a 2024 vehicle. It's roughly a year old. It's got really almost exactly a year's driving on it. So the data tells me that Kentville Toyota has the best priced XLE Grand Highlander gas available this side of Manitoba. So we've pulled the data as far as the center of the country. So we've got the best price on retail and we've got the best kilometers. The strange thing is we're asking the same price for this vehicle as the MSRP of a brand new 2025. A Toyota dealer in this market is in a really strange position. Is that we always try and treat our customers, repeat customers, as good as we can on trade values. Is that we want you to be happy with your trade value, but we need to recondition your car. We need to be very competitive on pricing, and we need to have profit. Nothing magical there, nothing insulting there. The funny thing is the fact that the Black Book, which a lot of consumers seem to think is the holy grail when it comes to information for used car values. For us at Kentville Toyota, Black Book for us is really, I won't say it's nothing, but generally it has very little impact. It's really based on market values is where we pull our values from. What do we think we can sell it for? What do we think it's going to cost to recondition it? How much profit are we comfortable with, knowing we need to turn the car as quickly as possible so you can't get greedy? And how do we treat the customer trading it with the respect is due as an existing customer? Black Book told us that the wholesale value of this vehicle is $60,000 and the right retail is about $65,000. So that makes no sense, except if you're a used car dealer exclusively. A used car dealer who cannot take this car on trade because the odds are they didn't have the hybrid whatever the customer wanted to replace this one with. The disparity between what the car Bible for a lot of people appears to say and what the realities are two very different things. So it's a funny spot to be in, is that I cannot readily get a consumer a 2025 or a 2026 Grand Highlander. They're extremely hard to come by. Supply and demand is, there's not enough supply for the demand, is still inflating used car values. But the only thing it doesn't tell you is, can you sell it? Will somebody pay $65,000 for a one-year-old vehicle that was only $55,000 new? Most won't, and most Toyota customers won't, and that's kind of the weird position we're in, especially with our hybrid inventory, is that there are used car dealers out there paying whatever they have to pay to try and get a used Toyota on their lot to sell, because it's an easy sell. They generally don't have a lot of comebacks, quality is good, turnaround times are pretty quick. So used car dealers who are not able to take trades as a new car dealer can, is stuck paying whatever they have to get the car. They're trying not to spend anything on reconditioning, which is unrealistic and unfair to the consumer. And then they're trying to get what most consumers will not pay unless you're desperate. So if you own this car and you wrote it off in a motor vehicle accident and you're desperate for another one, go back to your local Toyota store and they say, look, it's going to be 6 to 8 months to get your replacement for the vehicle that you just wrote off. If you're in that position and you need another Grand Highlander, you're going to buy whatever you can find and you'll have to pay whatever the market is asking. But most people, luckily, are not in that situation, and they will only pay the new car price for the new car. They will not pay the used car price, even because the used car price is unreasonable compared to the new price. So we're in a weird position as Toyota stores. Kentville Toyota is no exception. And every dealership, Honda's in a similar situation too. They don't have the same hybrid inventory issue that we do, but supply and demand is, their supply is coming back, so the used car values are dropping. Toyota's are not, is that we're still oversold on many of our products. So it makes it interesting for us to try and, again, give a customer fair trade value, A, B, recondition the car, and C, sell it for a fair price and sell it quickly. Because if we put them out there and ask what appears to be the high end of a used car price, customers will not buy them, because most Toyota customers that present themselves at our store are astute enough to say, look, if I can buy a brand new one for 50, why would I pay you 55 for a used? So it's an unusual position to be in, to say the least. So this has been the walkthrough on our used 2024 Grand Highlander XLE. I appreciate your time. Thanks for listening to me ramble on about the used car business and this car in particular. I've got to say I enjoyed the ride, and we look forward to seeing you at Kentville Toyota. Till next time.